Howdy folks, this is Justro at Metcalf Mills bringing you Storytime Tuesday. I've got one today that goes back hundreds if not thousands of years. I hope you enjoy it. Folks, on today's Storytime Tuesday, I've got some things that I've found in my life out in old fields where I've been working, farming, and I wanted to show them to you. Now, they're Native American artifacts, and the first one I found, I was about 4 years old, or 5, I don't remember exactly which, 4 or 5, when I found this piece. And it's called a bar gorget. And the story about it is, I was in the backer patch with my mother, and just like little boys will do, I was looking around for rocks and different things, and I picked this up and cleaned it off, and it's got 2 holes in it. And my mother thought that it was a part off of a tractor. One of my relatives' tractor, because it looks like, I mean, that's how it looks. It looks like something been factory made, but it wasn't, of course. And when I got older, me and Dad took me down, and we asked a chief down there what this was, and he said it was a bar gorget, and it's a piece of jewelry that the natives wore. I don't know exactly how they wore it, but it's a piece of jewelry that they wore, and that's about all I know about it. But I've had it for, I mean, since I was 4 or 5, and I just got lucky and found it one day in the backer patch. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a close-up of all these different things I'm going to show you, so you'll get to look at it close up. The next thing I'm going to show you is an axe, or a tomahawk. And I found this when I was about probably 14 years old in a backer patch. One morning we was waiting on somebody to bring the tractor and the backer trailer to get backer down out of the barn and load it on the trailer to haul it to the casing house. And I walked out in the backer patch. It had been disc up recently, and right there, sticking up out of the dirt, is what I seen was the edge of this axe. I've never really found many small artifacts like arrowheads or spearheads or Atlatl heads, anything like that. I've always found bigger stuff. I may have found one arrowhead in my life with a lot of looking, not necessarily going out on a purposefully looking, but just when I'm working and doing stuff, looking around for them. But I've always found bigger stuff, and this piece It's got a lot of detail. You can see how it was made and scars on it where it's been broke. I don't necessarily know if it was broke from use or broke from farming implements hitting it. One way or another, it got broke. But like I said, I'll show you these pieces up close at the end of this video. I do have a couple of smaller things here. I've got I'm pretty sure it's a piece of pottery that I found. Just a little, it's real light and it feels like a piece of pottery is what I think it is. Then I found another little rock here. I think it was maybe to use with a drill, because they would hold the top of the drill. I think that's what it is. It's got two little indents on each side. So, and then the one arrowhead I have, it's white quartz, like white, I guess white flint maybe, but that's the one that I found. And I have looked down and found one, but somebody else see it right before I did or about the time I did, and I just let them have it. But that's the arrowhead. And I got some bigger things over here to show you that goes along with my main line here at Metcalf Mills. I'm really excited to share those with you. I'm going to do that over here. I hope you've enjoyed that pretty sunset behind me. But I'm going to show you the bigger things over here on my tailgate. They're too heavy for me to handle and be able to show you in front of the camera, so I'm going to show you over here on my tailgate. Now the first one I'm going to show you, I didn't find this one. A buddy of mine, he's probably very distantly related to me, he gave me this one. He's found a lot of them in his life, and he is kind enough to share one with me. And what it is, I hope you can see on the camera, there's an indentation right here. And what it is, it's a grinding stone. And that's what they used to grind their grain, is what I've been told. And they'd use something like this. It's got some indentions where, if you hold it just right, it's got places for your fingers. Would be the, I guess this would be the Pestle Stone. I think that's right, mortar and pestle. But what they would do is put their grain in this little indentation, and they just take this stone, and somehow, I don't know if they would peck or just grind it, but that's how they would grind their grain, a little bit at a time. You can see how that's shaped. It's got some, like I said, it's got some indentions on it for your fingers to go in. I hope you can see good enough. I'll give you some close shots of this thing before we're done, but it's got a real deep indentation there. It's about almost 2 inches deep. The next one, I did find this one. I did find it in one of the fields where I was working, but it's got a kind of a wore out bowl shape here, but it's got a little place that comes down right here like a little spout or something. If you can see that right there, it's got a little spout that comes down out of the bowled out area. And if they used a rock, something like this, and ground their grain right here, just maybe they swept it down and swept it out this little spout. I don't know, but that's what I think. And you can see, I get that in the right spot there. You can see that little indentation there pretty good. But that's another one of the big, I call them millstones because they done some milling on them. But these are real interesting. This rock's got some nice texture on the end of it here. I don't know what kind of rock it is, but... And then I have seen them with a grinder on, a mortar on both sides. I hope I got that right, mortar and pestle. I don't know exactly which is which, but I think this is the mortar and then the pestle is the one. But anyway, I've seen them with a pestle on both sides, an indention on both sides. And that's real interesting. And then there's some that kind of look like they had a rounded place on the back, like they might lay down on top of your leg while you was working and kind of be comfortable with it. All right, hopefully you can see right here just how deep this is. How much of a little cavity that there is there on that. And I guess they would just take this rock and or take a rock shaped like this and just grind their grain, maybe beat it. I don't know, herbs, I don't know what all they used it for. But here's the other one. You can see it's got the nice indention there and then the little spout shape that's coming down. I don't know exactly what it was used for either. Right here is these small pieces. This is what I think is a piece of pottery. It's real light and it looks like it's been made with fingers and hands, and it's light like it was clay or something at one time. And it got dried out, and it has a pottery feel. I think that's why it's a piece of pottery of some kind. And then this little doodad, I don't know if you can see it, but right in the middle there's a little spot that's almost like something has started drilling a hole through there. And the same thing on the other side. It may be more visible on this side. See that little spot right there? I don't know what they've used that for, if they used it to drill a hole on one end of a drill, something like that, I don't know. But this is the Arrowhead that I found, and I think it's a white quartz. Big, nice. But from what I understand, they didn't use arrows here. They had what they call an Atlatl. It was kind of an extension of the arm, and they throwed a little small spear with it. So it's not an arrowhead for an arrow, but it went on more like a small spear type thing. And that extension of their arm gave them a lot more force when they were throwing. So, right here's my axe. The wind ain't gonna cooperate here. Right here's this big baby. You can see the detail. I mean, they cut the groove in this thing for their stick to go in there, and it's got some chips from getting hit with, I don't know if that happened when they was using the thing, or if it happened with farming implements running over it. But this big side is broke off, and then there's a chip out of the smaller side. But I've heard when they were using a tool, if it broke, they would just leave it laying wherever it broke. I guess they knew they was done with it, and I don't guess they had any further purpose for it or use. I've heard that, if it's true. You can see that, how nice the detail is on this. And then finally, my little bar gorget. If we can lay him over here, maybe you can see it better. Now this is the one I found when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and it's just a beautiful piece. It's real smooth. It's got these 2 holes in it. The only other mark I can find is on the back side, what I call the back side, there's a groove that goes between these 2 holes, like there might have been a piece of leather or something that went through there in some fashion. But I don't know if you can see it on this camera, but there's a groove that goes right between those two holes, right down through here. And it's got a few scars, but as thin as this is, it's amazing it didn't get broke. You know, get hit by a plow or a cultivator or something and break it. But that chief I talked to, he said it was a bar gorget, and it was wore for jewelry, you know, decoration jewelry. But these holes, you can see how small they are on what I call the front side. You turn it over and they're bigger. They taper down smaller on the front than they are on the back. If you can see that, you can see how they're bigger on this side and they taper down smaller on the other side. But that's a real interesting piece. And like I said, I've not found many arrowheads. That's about it right there. For my small stuff, everything I've ever found has been big. So most people will tell you the opposite. They'll say they've never found anything big. They always find small stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I just was looking for the bigger things in life. I don't know. Anyway, this is it. My Native American artifacts that I've found throughout my life. And very thankful for these. Well, folks, this has been your Storytime Tuesday. I hope you have enjoyed it, because I sure did. Hope you enjoyed this pretty sunset. Like this video if you will. Subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends if you think they'll enjoy it. Share it with them if you don't think they'll enjoy it. They might get surprised, and you might get surprised too. This is Just Joe. I look forward to seeing you next time.